Olivia, good to have you as ever. Tell us more about this winning book. We're keen to know.
Well, La Maison Vide is a family saga spanning 150 years. It's a literary account of Laurent Mauvignier's own family, so relatives, some of which he knew very well. Now, the empty house of the title is in fact a real property inspired by a family home that he's familiar with. So all the details here, the characters, the locations are deeply personal for the author. And that's something that he said when he was awarded the Goncourt Prize. He was visibly moved. He said, "This is the story of my life." Let's hear more from him.
It's a huge recognition because it's a book that comes from childhood and from several generations, so it's really important. And beyond the prize, it's something that touches everyone. And I hope this book will find its audience because through the story of my family, it's the story of just about everyone, really.
Now, this novel starts with the suicide of the author's father when he was just a teenager, and he wanted to find out more about this taciturn man who wasn't perhaps able to express his feelings, oppressed a little by expectations placed on men at that time. So he wants to dig deep into the generational trauma that's been passed down through other members of his family, for example, his great-grandparents, his grandparents. He has a particular focus on his grandmother, Marguerite, a woman who was shamed following the Second World War. She had her head shaved publicly, like some women did, for having relationships with Nazi officers. And Mauvignier has said that he wanted to understand this woman, the difficult conditions that she was living in a climate of misogyny, I guess, at the time, how she survived that ordeal. And it's interesting to see the ripples those kind of things have on families now, 80 years on. So this is a really sweeping story, 750 pages, long, meandering, literary sentences. It really recalls the great realist authors of the 19th century, people like Zola, Maupassant and Flaubert, who, like Mauvignier in a way, they're making a very detailed portrait of a French family, but also of French bourgeois society and the key historical events that have shaped that society.
Olivia, walk us through what more we know about Laurent Mauvignier.
Well, he, like the characters in this book, of course, he was born in the Loire, grew up there, so he does know that French bourgeois life in the provinces very well. It's close to him, but he is a very well-respected, a well-known figure in French literary circles. He's been publishing books for over 25 years. He's won many prestigious prizes, including the Académie Française prize already. He's had a lot of success with this book. It's sold 80,000 copies in just 2 months since it was published. It was shortlisted for other prizes. It's won 2 other literary prizes. So it's really not a massive surprise to those inside literary circles.
I mean, walk us through, if you will, just finally, Olivia, what the Prix Goncourt means for the author, particularly here in France.
Well, today, in terms of prize money, not a lot, because the author just gets a €10 symbolic cheque. But obviously, the visibility, the endorsement, the prestige of this prize is huge, and that does translate into sales. The winner of a Goncourt Prize can expect to sell about 400,000 books in the next couple of months, and their publisher, in this case the Édition de Minuit, can expect to make about €3 million in revenues from book sales. A Goncourt winner gets a little red sticker on it in the bookshop, and that catches shoppers' eyes, especially when they're looking for Christmas gifts in the run-up to Christmas. And of course, it really places you in this canon of important French cultural figures. For example, past winners have included Marguerite Duras, Simone de Beauvoir, Proust. So it really makes you part of the conversation. There's a lot more attention on your body of work, your past books, and any future projects. And I found very interesting this year, actually, in the shortlist of the Goncourt Prize, and the long list as well, there were many personal stories, autobiographical stories that were more in the category of memoir or non-fiction. And the Goncourt was established for novels, for fiction, works of prose, but it looks like they may be opening up that definition a little bit more, stretching its boundaries.
All right, Olivia, on that note of important French cultural figures and stretching boundaries, that's where we leave it for now. Thanks very much indeed, though.